Hello folks, it's Chris in Arena Recording Studio with a quick video for you now. For those of you that don't know, I do a lot of guitar repairs. I've been doing repairs for 30 odd, nearly 40 years really, I suppose now. And I'm only 42, so work that one out. No, I've been doing them for a long time, but again, I've had a customer phone me today. They've popped into the studio for me to have a little look and give this guitar, this Fender acoustic guitar that they dropped in. It's not this one, a little going over. And he's bought it from a very well-known website, and they've delivered the guitar, and he's had it a few days, and he's got a few issues with it. So I thought I'd just put this little video together explaining what goes on and why you need to take with you when you buy a guitar. Again, this is the problem with purchasing something off the internet. You need to try and go into the shop and physically see what you are buying. It's going to save you all this hassle and distress. One of these things, a little foot-long ruler, advertising my favourite football team, actually, North East Victoria. A little ruler like this can save you a lot of pain and agony, because what you need to do is look at the guitar, and as we see this old, what is this? This is a Fender thing that I bought probably about 30 years ago, and it develops over time. Some guitars, if you look at the ruler, see how it rocks. This is what we call a pot belly. Yes, the guitar has one, and so do I. But this is more serious on your guitar than in my case. Because what happens over time, the bridge starts to pull up at the back, and it starts to press down at the front, and this pulls the body of the guitar up and creates this hump. This little hump there, which is not too severe on this, but I'm not keen on it, because eventually over time, I end up where people bring them into me and end up shaving the saddles down, and we get right to the bottom limit. And really, you can get a pot belly reducer, it's a set of clamps that you can buy off the internet to put this right, but it's not a straightforward, simple job, I suppose. It's something that's going to cost you a few quid. And if you pick the guitar up and you take one of these with you to a music shop and you find this little bit of rocking going on, you know you're already starting to develop a pot belly. And probably one on the guitar too. See, I've done that joke twice. Anyway, so I would then probably put the guitar down and have a look for something else, because sometimes, you know, and it doesn't matter about the price of the guitar. I've had £100 acoustic guitars and they have been fantastic, and I've also worked on £5,000–6,000 worth of Taylors and Martins and all these guitars, and they've had pot bellies too. So it doesn't matter about the cost or the expense. I think it's possibly down sometimes to how these guitars are stored, what sort of humidity and environment they're kept in, and then over a period of time, wood's wood, it moves, it breathes. That's what happens. The bridge starts to pull up at the back and press down at the front, creating this pot belly. So as I've said earlier, I would pop the guitar back and try something else. So my advice to anybody going to buy an acoustic guitar is take a little ruler with you and just check that. And the other thing that I see so many times is poorly fretted, you know, poorly finished fret ends. If you can feel the fret ends and they're sharp and jagged, and again, you know, it's just poor workmanship. That it's something that you should probably pop back and just say, look, I'm not, you know, it's not the guitar for me. You don't have to point out the frailties of it, I suppose, because again, most of the guitars that come to me for repairs are bought off the internet, where you don't get the choice to check whether it's got a pot belly or poorly seated frets, you know. So, I mean, there's nothing that can't be put right on a guitar, but you don't want to be buying a new guitar like the chap that came in today, Adrian, and then having to box it all up, contact the company and say, look, this is not great, the quality build of this has slipped a little bit and it's not where I want it to be. So, you know, he's got all this shenanigans going on now, good word, of having to send it back to music and get the guitar sorted out. Sometimes I've actually had people bring them in and I've done a written appraisal, like a report on the guitar for them if they're having a few issues, and then, because bringing it to a luthier and then they get the letter-headed paper with everything on, it sometimes gives them a little bit of a kind of guarantee to actually know that the person who's looked at the guitar knows what they're talking about. So it can be a bit of a doom and gloom thing when you're going to buy a guitar, but take a ruler, check the fret ends. Those are the first two things that I would look at with any acoustic guitars. Things like truss rod settings and all that, they're pretty sort of standard, and you know, you can sort all those things out yourself. But also check that your top nuts, your slots in your grooves are all nice and even, and everything's set up how it's supposed to be. It's not a big big ask really from most guitar builders to just make sure that these things are good. But pot bellies, they can stay as they are, or they can grow and become even humongously massive bellies, which is what we don't want, do we? So a little tip for you, take your little ruler and enjoy your search for your acoustic guitar. As always, from me, Chris, in Arena Recording Studio, stay safe, stay well, and keep on rocking in the free world.